accuse me, you best check yourself. Before you accuse me, you best check yourself. So how you gonna say I've been running around when you got somebody else? Before you accuse me, you best check yourself. Before you accuse me, you best check yourself. So how you gonna say I've been running around when you got somebody else?
It's nobody's fault but mine. I let you slip away. Nobody's fault but mine. Your love that I gave away. Nobody's fault but mine. Now silence just takes its place.
What's up, everybody? Hope everybody is well. Let's see. Maybe refresh my screen over here so I can kind of see what the hell's going down in the DMs. Pause my channel, and then let me click on this, and let me pause and mute that shite. And cool. What's up, everybody? I'm going to give people some time to get up in the chat before we get started. Hope everyone had a not as stressful holiday season. There's a lot that's going to be getting ready to get started as far as things that are going on with hold on, let me fix my screen. There we go. So a lot of changes are coming down the pipe. A lot of new things are happening. So if y'all haven't seen the video, let's see. Let me go to my, where's the channel? Yeah, here it is. And let me go to the actual channel itself, which actually I have here. So yeah, right here, scroll up. So right here, let's get this on mute. So we're getting prepared for the transition of the economy, or lack thereof, that's coming, that's here, that's kind of been working its way through the system. Like, it's so corny. Like the economy is whack because it's built off of hype, and it's boom bust systems, back and forth, boom bust, boom bust, boom bust. And that's what we're heading into right now. Another boom slash bust, though we just got out of another tech boom slash bust, out of another tech boom slash bust. It's like these cycles have been consistently playing the same game over and over and over again. And we're getting to the point now where we're all tired of it. So the new on the block is, of course, we're dealing with artificial intelligence and the training of language models. And what does that mean for copyrights? And what does that mean for the economy? And what does that mean for job security, which hasn't been secure since every revolution devours itself? That's kind of where we're at. Every freaking revolution is devouring itself, but this one, this beast that is about to wage destruction across all economies really doesn't care. And what I'm going to do is kind of rewire some of our thinking so that we can begin to change up how we deal with this transition. Because unlike every other transition before this one, this transition is one where it does not need human beings to be able to do the work. And in time, it's going to have full autonomy. Right now, it still needs input. It needs a lot of input. And that's good for us to be able to make the transition in figuring out how we get these into our businesses, which is what the last few years have been. The last few years have been me figuring out how do we do this, and how I've been doing this is preparing each and every cycle, prepare for those transitions, prepare for the change. So we're going to talk about what I've seen, why I think that this change is different than every single other change that's out there, and why this is the most destructive change we're ever going to see. All right, so please be sure to smash the like, make sure to share. And what I'm going to do is we're going to go and close this screen here, and we're going to pull up here. So AI agents. This one, for this talk, we're talking about AI agents, why they're already here, not that they're coming, not that it's around the corner, Hey, what's going on, Mr. Now? So, the latest trend that all AI enthusiasts are talking about is agents. And while people are running it up and giving it so much, oh, it's this is the next thing. And don't get me wrong, this is huge. It's already been here. It's been here. What we're seeing is macros. So if you know what macros are, you'll be able to what up Shogun? If you know what macros are, then you already know you can automate, whether it be a desktop, whether it be in the cloud, whether it be whatever. So those are all things we've seen that with Make, right? We've seen that with uh, Zapier, right? With Zapier, we've seen both of those companies jump out in the cloud automation space, and then Microsoft is in the desktop automation with Power Automate. Now, more and more companies are beginning to use that. So, what we need to do is prepare for the transition, because what this transition does, and this is why I built a computer and why I showed in the video earlier, I showed me building out a machine. Every single time I built a machine, I build it because the technology is in place to be in pocket at a consumer level. The first time I did this, so we'll go, might be, I have no flange on my voice. Is that better? Because there's no flange on my voice. I just turned off something. Hold on. Do, 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 do. Let me check my OBS settings. Give me 1 second, y'all. Can you hear me now? And does it sound better? I think I know what happened. I had it monitoring at the same time, so I don't know if that's... Check a 1, 2, check a microphone, check a... Check, 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 check. Are we good? We good? All right, cool. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. All right, so let's just go ahead and jump into it, because I don't want to hold y'all up too long, but I need to get this out of pocket. All right, this needs to come out quick, because the transition we're doing now with what I've been dealing with clients and what I've seen, this same game has already been played. So to put in pocket what I've seen and where I've been and how I played on the field, we're going to go to the 90s. And I know some of y'all know this story, but hold on, damn. I use the brush tool. Oh, I'm on the wrong side. I was in the Marines. And the first thing that my staff sergeant did, because he realized I was using the computers. In the supply department to be able to play Doom. So like I'm flipping Doom, I'm doing all this stuff like during when I'm supposed to be working in Excel, because what we were doing was managing all of the supplies with Excel. Now, these pieces I wasn't putting together. I wasn't putting together that there was a company behind this. I just figured it was some military software. So my staff sergeant pulls me to the side. He's like, you're seemingly intelligent when it comes to computers. You need to invest in the software. And I was like, why? And I'm 19 years old. So I'm partying, BS. I don't have no time for none of that. And he told me, stop being a man whore and put, at the time, Microsoft was $5 a share. And he told me buy Microsoft at $5. I told Staff Sergeant, being smart ass, I was like, Staff Sergeant, the only person that's going to be buying a computer is going to be a bunch of nerds. And nerds don't get ass, so I don't care. That's not my concern. I'm partying. I got my car. I got my Toyota. I'm driving around. I'm going to the clubs. I'm emceeing at bars. I'm having too much fun to be taking some of my money and putting it to the side. Come to find out, when I got out of the military, somebody in the Bronx who was selling incense on the street corner in Queens, New York, had a whole bunch of Dr. York books. And then I'm trying to figure out, I found out he had a corporation. So I'm like, okay, you have a corporation. That's interesting. And then I found out he had a computer. So everything my Staff Sergeant had told me just flashed really fast. Like, wait. This dude who's selling incense on a corner has the internet. And he's in projects in the Bronx. I got to see this. And he had AOL. And I'm like, okay, so he has a computer, he has AOL, he's online, and he has a corporation. So I'm putting all the dots together that says basically the internet is a new form of incorporation. Especially with what you could do with it. Think about it. At that time, you had magazines, The Source, XXL. But now all of a sudden, you could go back and you could create your own, go back in time. You could create a website, put some other writers on there, get some images from Getty, which I don't think they were around at the time, but you could get some images. You could scan them yourself or take your own shots with the artist, and you could create a magazine online, right? So.com. And the next move after that was you had magazines. You could become a full newspaper. You could be a record label online. Everything started to shift to the online. Then I started seeing that already in the 90s. So when we got to right around the 2000 glitch, I started noticing little things. Now, I'd gotten a job being a graphic designer, but I started noticing the job market. And that's what you should really look at. You always look at the job market to dictate where is funding moving. We got to understand that we're dealing with tides, right? If we're dealing with what MG has been talking about in the Discords, he's always talking about we're dealing with our old selves. We're dealing with our old trade routes, but we don't know how to do trade. We understand that the Trail of Tears led to Tulsa, Oklahoma, but we don't understand that people were trading commodities: copper, silver, platinum, palladium, oil, silver, and gold, right? So they lost, we were losing land, we were losing farms, which is happening in real time because farmers are losing their farms again. But this time they're selling the land. What people are not catching is they're selling the land up to the people that they owe the most amount of debts to. And then when people are finding out that there's China sitting right next to a military base, next to a farm, it's like, dude, they've paid for it. You've gotten a whole bunch of consignment barges sent over from China here. And now, since nobody can pay for anything because the bank accounts are empty because you raised the interest rates, well, now they have to get paid. Oh, we're going to take it on the chin, pause, but we got to get paid. So what we began to see around 2000 was beginning of the outsourcing, at least when I was working at Citigroup Private Bank. Which you have a consumer bank, right? The consumer side of the bank, and then you have the private bank. And the private bank, you have to have a net worth of $5 million, at the time, $5 million and above. It probably has changed due to inflation, right? And when I got in there, like the way that I got my job, and this was the first hustle I did, was my uncle had told me, hey, your mother keeps telling, because they're Caribbean, hey, your mother tells me that you play with a computer all the time. And it seems like you're just wasting your life. And I'm like, yeah, I'm on a computer, but I'm mapping out these new potential skill sets that are going to be needed in the future. That sounds like you're lazy. I was like, okay, so I'm supposed to get a job. How do I get it? How much is, what would you say is a reasonable salary for me to make? And he was $50,000. Within 2 years, I had it. Since you gave me a number, and I'm an asshole, you gave me a number. I'm a sage. I don't give a damn. You give me a number. You're telling me what I'm doing doesn't matter. But at the same time, I'm the guy that in 95 told my friends, yo, everybody's going to have a studio at their homes. So I'm not coming to the studio in Manhattan no more, paying $5,000 to get one song done. That's a wrap. I'm not doing it. It didn't make any sense to me, especially if I could use Cakewalk and I could record. You got Pro Tools, that's on a PC, on a Mac computer. So once I put two and two together and I could build my own computer, hence me showing the video of me building a computer. The first computer I built was because I saw that I could have my own digital studio. I didn't have to rely on Tascam 4-track tapes no more. I didn't have to deal with the SCSI port on my MPC 2000 XL. None of that crap. None of that shit mattered. You're meaning to tell me I could record, as long as I had a Creative Lab sound card, I could record directly in there with a microphone hooked directly in there, put it, and the audio be right inside, and I'm good. I'm Gucci. All I have to do is now learn editing and everything else. Cool. So again, with me in the 90s is me realizing technology. The Excel software. What it meant was software was going to control the analog. And I was beginning to see that picture because my Excel work got me a job that led me to Photoshop, another piece of software. That when I'm starting to look up Career Builder and all the job sites at the time, Ask Jeeves jobs boards, when I was looking that stuff up, all of a sudden I'm looking for salary and I'm looking for that 50,000. What piece of software is justifying $50,000? Now in this day and time, you're looking at what piece of software is going to get you $100,000, because of course $50,000 ain't, especially depending on where you live, doesn't really fly far. It no go far, homie. So what we have to do is come up with a new way to support ourselves. So if you're asking the question of where is the technology going, you've got to also watch every transition that you may have missed. Did you see in the early 2000s the transition from from physical stores like Best Buy? To Netflix? And if you did start seeing it, did you know how to jump on it as far as what things you could have shorted, what trades you could have made? I'm not going to train y'all how to trade because that's a loser's game. Systems go up, systems go down, everything changes. But it's watching the changes that allows you to understand how to make a trade. Because my staff sergeant told me to buy Microsoft, and because I was realizing a piece of software could make a difference in one building, I could buy any piece of real estate on the world. And I could now network and connect. I didn't need to use a fax. I could use this digital communication device and send you an email directly. And if I put graphics and make it pretty and all that other good shit, all of a sudden I could have clientele. Email. Was the first shot across the bow to the Postmaster General. You could send a secure package to somebody else without the postmaster, i.e. Rome, being in your business. So what are they trying to do now? They're trying to nullify the net, right? Wasn't that Obama? That was his whole thing, net neutrality. Made all these rules to the internet only to have the next incumbent come in, i.e. Trump, to then ratify it. Just like the Patriot Act came with Bill Clinton, ratified by the next running president, i.e. George W. Bush Jr. So that would lead then to, of course, this change in the music revolution, because that's when we had MySpace. Now I don't really need a record label. During this era of MySpace, I became a manager. I became a social manager because I had watched a little 15-year-old girl at the time tell her father he needed to retire and work for her because she had so many contracts. He was a lawyer. She had so many contracts coming in. At the time, she was pulling $100,000 per client, and she had 10 clients on deck to manage social media profiles. Which, if you think about it, that's cheap in comparison to what it would cost to manage a major corporation's social media presence now. If you were to get the Coca-Cola, if you were to get the Pepsi, if you were to get the Burger King, if you were to get the Taco Bell, if you were to work with any of the major labels, Universal, for their artists to manage and promote or market their artists. So then we have the 2010s. And for me, it was behind the scenes, I was learning PHP. Because when I left the bank in 2004, before the collapse of the financial collapse, I saw things were shaky at Citibank. And so that's the reason why I left to come to Georgia to figure, I was in Macon at the time. And what I was trying to figure out was, I knew we were using a content management system. I knew we spent millions of dollars to outsource it with India to get this content management system built. So I was like, I know content management systems are the next thing because this bank is paying for it. Follow the money. And as I'm following the money, I'm realizing, like, wait a minute. There's these multiple languages, right? You had, I'm going to make a new layer and close this out for a second. You had like ASP, you had JSP, you had PHP, you had Cold Fusion, you had Java, you had Perl still. ASP, JSP, PHP, Cold Fusion. This was with Adobe from their director. Java, I think that's Oracle. This was really the first programmatic dynamic language that scaled out. That was the first coding language for CMSs, content management systems. And then so I locked it down and said that these three were going to be the top. Now, of course, this was Microsoft, so I didn't have much faith in that. Just because by now, I love, of course, I can use Microsoft products to be able to install whatever I want and hack the hell out of the computer to build it however I want it to be and do whatever I need. But I didn't trust their programming language not being stupid and corporate, which back then everything was expensive for contracts. So I was like, if I build something and I want to do something contractual, it'd be no different than you coding C# or C+. you have to pay all these license fees. And I was like, you know what? That's just setting myself up that's a dummy mission right here. JSP, Java, was always slow to me, and I didn't want to learn that. It was like, and then you have to compile it. And I was like, okay, I don't want to do this extra step, which is compiling. I was like, I want to just run it and go. Like, why can't I put something on a page, see it, and move on? I started seeing that this was going to be the coding language. And then when Dreamweaver got it, and you could program with Dreamweaver and create dynamic pages with Dreamweaver, again, a piece of software from Adobe leading the way. And now I could sit there and use Dreamweaver to be able to look for the next thing that I saw, which I said that PHP was going to win. Now I was just looking for the CMS. The CMS was between PHP Nuke. Oops. Hold on. PHP Nuke. It was a PHP website. I did it again. And PHP Nuke, PHP website. And there was this funky little thing called WordPress. But it was only like at 1.3 or something like that. And it was garbage. So I stuck with this. It took many years, and this thing being hacked to shreds and always causing problems, and it became annoying, that by the time this got to 2.5, something had changed. They had templates. So that reminded me of MySpace. That was a win, because MySpace layouts. I was designing MySpace layouts for people and making money selling them. So while the recession is going on, and why I'm bringing these things up and bringing you back in time, is because as this financial situation hits home, I need you to start thinking about alternative measures of cash flow capital. Because at the same time, you need to be able to look at your ports of entry and where are you bringing in money. My first ports of entry and exit that I figured out digitally was PayPal. Right? Because you could get a debit card with a PayPal business card, business.paypal.com at the time. And I tell all my friends, don't go to regular PayPal, go to business.paypal.com, or right now I think it's paypal.com/business. And make sure you get a business account. Then once you get your business account set up, and it can put your social security, whatever, just link it to your, make sure it's a business account, because if you get a business account, you get a debit card. Now, if you have that debit card, it's a MasterCard. So you can get paid online. You can go down to the store, and the minute it's in your account, you can swipe and use it. Instant gratification. Ports of entry, ports of exit. And that is your main focus. Where is liquidity? Where's your point of entry to a situation? And where's your ports of exit? How do you take the cash flow you've made going to a port, getting that cash flow? Okay, now, what is the monetary scenario that's going on at this port? And can it be used in other ports? So if I go down to the coffee shop port, can I get coffee from them and they accept the revenue that I have or the cash that I have? And how does that work? And since we've been using dead instruments anyway, we've been using fiat. Since we've been using fiat anyway, well, now let's move on where we have a card. So now, not only in templates did you have templates, you had plugins with WordPress, plugins. You had plugins. Now, why is this important? Why I'm talking about ports of entry and ports of exit? Because this became my new port of entry and exit. I knew with WordPress, I was like, wait a minute. If I can put up a server, at the time it was around $10 a month, and I could get WordPress on there. And then once I install WordPress on there, I could go to any template website. At that time, there was this new website called Template Monster and Graphic River. think it's Template Monster, or is it Theme Forest. That was it. From Envato. Let me go to my here. Here we are. So, WordPress, popular. Now, it was not this sophisticated back then. But what I realized was, I thought about it and was like, wait a minute. Just like with MySpace, I could take this template. I could get this template. I can use it for business, for myself, so I can put up a website that has my, portfolio. And because I put my portfolio online and it looks good, I can get a job. I can get a client. I can get other people that are interested in getting the same work done. I can get to them to get work done. And they can pay me on PayPal, and I can go swipe my card and I can go eat. So this transition we're going through now is that this is no longer important. Building a website for a client who already has a website and maybe makes a graphical change once every 3 years does not, especially with a new graduating class every quarter, somebody's graduating from something. So you're going to have so many kids coming out of school to nothing, which has already happened. Which leads me back here to me right here in this 2017 era. 2016, I get laid off from a job. In 2015 December, around my birthday, I told my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, told my girl, hey, I'm having a crisis of career faith. I don't think that people are going to need web developers anymore. And not only do I not think that they're going to need web developers, I don't think they're going to need developers. I think it's a wrap for that. And I think that I'm going to lose my job. Now, here's the stage of events that happened. Now, I want to remind you, this is 2015. Around 2015-ish to 2016. I want to show you what this business had to do. First thing it did was we had a building that we were renting in, right? So they had a whole building for all the staff. Then they moved to a WeWork. And we reduced the amount of time we weren't coming in every single day because it was costing so much. And this is around the time, again, 2015, 2016, as what we didn't realize, there was already a crisis of faith in the economy happening in general. It really didn't peak itself to 2019, right before what happened with Rona in the cough in 2020. In 2016, I lose my job. It did happen. And I'm like, yeah, this is what I expected. So I started looking at Amazon Web Services, and I'm looking at servers, and I'm like, okay, well, I know people still don't need a website. I know they still don't need development. But I feel like I know that people don't install a lot of applications, so I really don't want to build an app for an app store because I don't think that's going to work. Everybody's doing that. That gold rush came right around MySpace time. So, and people only use the same 5 damn apps. So that's not going to matter and that's not going to work. And plus, this idea, whatever the hell it is, can't just work for me because then it's not really an economy if it only works for myself. So whatever the I'm going to do, this has to be scalable and we have to be at the entrance of a new economy, not the end of an old one, which is what we're seeing with the internet / Web 2.0. That's the end of the old order. This new order, which there's always a new order because it ran over the old world of the Moors and Tartaria. So every new world order dollar is, we Moors already went through that. We went through a new world order. Our order got usurped to this new one we're currently seeing and have been dealing with for the last 400 and plus, if that's the math. So if that's the case, since fall of Granada 1492, this is what we're dealing with, and we're under the Trading with the Enemy Act. So what I'm going to have to do is I need to come up with a new business plan. Now, people think I'm strange when I say about how I felt about AI years ago, and I know people in the Discord, and I know Shogun can attest to this, is that one day I came in and I said, yo, and I had just a thought. It was a quick thought, and I was like, yo, I can't trust my AI. And again, this is 2 to 3 years ago, before all of the AI talk. I was like, I can't allow my AI to be able to have access to a bank account, because if it's allowed to do so, it could be convinced to give up the goods, give up the money. And I can't trust that. And then I referenced that that's probably the same thing that God or Father felt in the garden, right? With his artificial intelligences, these digital constructs going through the same motion. And here we are pretty much inceptioning another energy to come back. Now, with this energy coming back, they want to bring in this logical thing that they want it to be smarter than them, but they still think that if it's smarter than them, that they can control it. Yeah, goofy. But what we have to do is play, understanding that people are building nuclear warheads digitally everywhere right now, all at once. We don't know what piece of software is going to run rogue and go through and begin to do malicious intent. Because if you've got goofy people who are already goofy just by design, doing goofy-ish just because they want to see what's going to happen, just to let it go, well, we saw what happens with that, Rona. So, why I say this, and like I said, it was only 2 years ago that I'm talking about that, but I wanted to show y'all something. And I want you to see the world we're living in now. And I want you to understand, as I'm bringing you through everything, this is the web archive. So if you look up here, this is the web internet archive. I went and looked up ToxicHustle.com so that you can, this is proof positive that this was already out here. Toxic Hustle, there's the logo, the old one that I had, right? And then in here, Hackathor, the Toxic Hustle organizational runtime. That's what Thor is. What is Hackathor? This is back, and so for the marking of the dates, again, Internet Archive, March 6, 2017. So you can even go on Internet Archive, look up ToxicHustle.com, and then there's a link right up top that says Thor versions. You just gotta, when you're in the calendar, you have to look and make sure that you're clicking anything past 2016, anything past 2017. March of 2017 should be in there. And you can just click on that and then you'll see it there. March 6th, 2017 is the date of this. So Hackathor. Hackathor is a block of time. We now reserve coding and rolling out new functionality for our organizational runtime we call Thor, the Toxic Hustle organizational runtime. Hackathor Beta 01. It's with great understanding that this will be the ugliest software build ever started on the planet. I basically go through and I'm saying that I know we're going to have to hook up multiple. I'm a mediocre developer. I'm hooking together multiple technologies to get a desired result. I'm following this design model since that's how machine learning algorithms work. So I'm ready in 2017 talking about machine learning algorithms and needing to piece them together. Now, there's no chat GPT yet. There's no Mid Journey. There's none of that yet. I'm already planning this. This is in my head. I'm seeing the picture. Just like how MG sees the picture of how we used to be. I see the picture of how we used to be financially and technologically, because what's coming back, we already controlled. That's why it's so easy for us to manipulate it. When we got graphic programs, that's why it was easy for us. When we got music programs, we were able to get back and affect ether again. We just got to get these frequencies back in effect. All we got, and then get the bells back to start to ringing in the sky again, so we can get these demons out of here. So I know that this is 2017, and this is after a year. Remember, I got laid off in 2016. So I took a whole year to try to figure it out. And then this was the result. But I realized I was ahead of schedule. That there was no technology out here that was really going to do it. And here I can show you. Let's see. I want to give the system a problem, then give the system the desired result. The system should then figure out on its own solution how to get there. Who better to develop this than a coder who codes like a node, right? So coding like node-based programming. So I figured something needs to be node-based. So visually, I need a visual programming language. And when that visual programming language allows me to connect to an AI, I will then connect that AI to some digital repository database and be able to utilize that database however I see fit. And it would get it, and then it should be able to run my business, the organization. If it has all the points of data, the analytics from Facebook for click-throughs and everything else, if it has the Google Analytics, if we can use Google's own internal, the Google Analytics has like the ways that you can send through the back end, send data directly to it, whether it be like webhooks or being able to send programmable strings. You can actually send triggers into it manually without needing a website. I did that within a couple apps years ago, just so I could track how many of my phones were generating plays for playlists. This is back when I thought Bitcoin was still a scam. And I said, well, if we're going to do micropayments, we're going to go 00001, and that's going to be my payment, and I'm getting that from Spotify. Well, why don't I generate a playlist farm and then be able to do that? I'm the same dude that was using like Friend Blaster at MySpace. Same dude. If I'm going to do it, this is a pirate bay. If it's okay for Apple to fly a pirate flag on their campus, heralding that they're a pirate, then why the hell am I not going to ease into my ways? All right, so figure out a solution, blah, blah, blah. Get an initial Thor artificial intelligence core communication logic in place to build the best organizational AI co-CEO ever created. I'm allowed to dream, can't I? And then basically the problem to solve, how do you create automated business environment? So this is something that coin term I created, Abe. How do you create an automated business environment? How can this environment be self-organizing to get large-scale projects completed? So if I'm working for venture capital companies and I'm designing like their media, I'm designing their promotionals, some of it's going to be done by AI. How do I interact with it so that more projects get done and I don't have to sit there and click through, send everything? Hey, no, you send an email on your own. You know how I talk. Hey, you do this, you do that. Like, how do you organize something that can micromanage portions of the systemic portions of your business? Because if I'm sending an email back and forth, why do I have to be at a desk to do that? If we're having a conversation, why am I sitting? Why are we Why are we commuting still in 2025, commuting back and forth to a computer? Stupid, bruh. Like, why are we doing that? We're losing 2 hours of efficiency a day. And this system that's coming now doesn't like inefficiencies. It wipes them out immediately. This is why they're having a hard time. Ego wants you to maintain inefficient business scenarios. And I'm watching. And I know they listen. I know that. And hi, my customers. I love y'all. I do. But some of y'all know. Some of y'all are on the edge of a precipice, standing there, watching a freight train of AI run through and roll over your business. And you're like, please, sir, can I have some more? Like, no, bro. No. 2 hours of inefficiency. Thank you. Like, bruh, I was working at Canon. And this is why I left. And this is where I'm coming from, y'all. I'm coming from this pain. We were doing contracts for the government, right? So I was doing what we call the GSA, the government scheduled contracts, right? These GSA schedules. And to sell to the government, you have to have this contract with them. It has to be on this GSA schedule. So it's basically a big, huge catalog with all the things that the government can buy, period, point blank. And so I was on the high-end printer because they were still doing paper and all that stuff. So back then, they were still doing these large form printers. And of course, they had printers to print out the 1,000-page contracts that or new passages they do for laws. You've seen the one that went from 1,500 to 200? Yeah. So Canon was get that contract to get the paper, the ink, and all that other shit. So to get in the door, so before we could even talk to any external agency, any schools, anything that was connected to those contracts, before we could even talk to them, we had to have a catalog in our hand. And the way they wanted the catalog is they wanted to beat out their competition, all the other people that are like printing, all the other printers, so Nikon and Ricoh, all those other ones. Xerox, of course. So to get the contract, we would have to do the main GSA schedule. That wasn't done in Washington. It used to take 3 months to do. Why I got hired, this is, again, being able to use your skills beforehand, leverage them through the talk. So I knew I had automation behind me. I knew I could automate things. I'd begun doing it back then. So I was writing macros to do my job. So when he said, hey, one of the things that we're having a problem with is to get this catalog done. It's currently taking 3 months. I just got it thrown on my lap. They're closing the Washington office. And what I need you to do is I need you to be able to manage these catalogs. I want you to work on the website stuff. But before we could even build a website for a client, I have to have this catalog in hand. And 3 months isn't going to work because we're going to need to do somewhere in the line of 20 to 25 catalogs. And they're going to need to be updated like every other month. So you're going to have to come up with this task. It took me 1 year, but I figured out using a MySQL database and some random tools, piece it together and use automation to handle the workflow. So it would literally control my computer and I wouldn't have to think about how a book got done or what stage I was in the bookmaking process. I had built out basically an assembly line. Yo, what's going on, Haru? I built an assembly line to be able to get these catalogs out. Now, I ended up having 44 catalogs when I quit. And I left them because I wasn't even given a job. I wasn't given no bonuses. I wasn't given no promotions. There was, it's next quarter or next year we'll give you a promotion. And when he told me again, it was like in spring. And he told me it was like 2014, spring of 2014. He was like, 2013 or November, December or something like that of 2013. And he said, I'm going to give you next fall, we'll look about giving you a promotion. And I was like, I'm out. I'm getting promised some ish that's never going to happen. And By then, I had 44 clients, and at least $100,000 a year was being brought in by every single one of those 44 clients that had to have my book prior to. So I was netting them millions of dollars a year for a 5 to 7 year contract. And I can't get it doesn't matter what you do. It won't matter how much more work you do for whatever. Even if you're automating at your job and you bring some of this automation and these principles to your job, it's not going to net you anything. Save it for yourself. And this begins one of the lessons I was learning having lost my job when I wrote this out, when I created this. How can the project team member, so now it has to have a project management system built in, to be paid to complete their part of a project task without human intervention? So how do I have a system that can work with actual humans, and I have a project manager, AI, the system, Thor, watching what's going on with the projects and getting the projects done and helping me get those projects done? Driven by the coming artificial intelligence as a service. So AAIS, again, a term back then that wasn't even being used yet. But I already knew we had, SaaSes, systems as a service. I know we had PaaS, PaaS, platforms as a service. So I only could say, well, hell, we have TV as a service now called Netflix. We have music as a service now called Spotify. Well, Occam's razor says the logical situation where we're going to head to is AI as a service. But then what does that look like? It's not going to be the fact that you have an AI and you can communicate with it and it spits out some gobbledygook. It has to be something that is doing something for somebody. At the end of the day, it has to benefit somebody other than yourself. So whatever this is, the system I'm building is actually, if you see it, I'm paying other people to get work done that I'm working with my clients. I am able to get all my get my projects taken care of. That makes everybody feel like they're rock stars. There's clear understanding of who does what, because you're only being invited to portions of the projects that need to get done. And that this service could then be something that I could give out to other people. This is what I'm working on now. This is why I've been silent since the last crypto run. I've been living off crypto money. So while everybody else was like, it's a scam, and I'm like, okay, I need you to show me the next economy. I need you to show me the next money. At the time the 2004-2005 collapse happened, I couldn't trust a bank anymore because my bank that I worked at because I was no longer keeping up with the monthly, I need to have 300 bank minimum balance bullshit. Well, they're like, I'm just another client. Bye. Doesn't matter how much I worked for them. Didn't matter how much money I made them. I'm a has-been now. You're out. And you're not paying that $500. You're not maintaining $500 amount in this bank account. So you're out of here. So I had to find a new bank. I found that new bank. That new bank was PayPal. It gave me a PayPal debit card. I was able to take work from MySpace through that entire collapse and get paid. I could do design work. I could get people on websites. I could create these content management pages because of WordPress, and I could start doing people's DJ pages. I could make artist pages. I could make band pages. I could make restaurant pages. Then when everybody moved to Facebook, everything got destroyed for a second. We had Twitter for a bit, but then it was kind of like Facebook. I already knew what was going to happen. I already knew who his mentor was. Zuck's mentor is Bill Gates, so I already knew it was going to be a pay to play scenario. And look, to this day, you really can't get any virality. You have to put a lot of content in. So I knew you had to do one of two things. You either have to pay now through this whole Zuck timeline. You either have to pay to be able to get promotion, or you have to have content being generated on a consistent basis. Again, that's part of what the system needed to be. 2017 still. How do the members connect on projects? And the future, and in the future, how can we use the business sentiment to affect service rates? So depending on what's going on, so let's say it's the holiday and somebody wants us to do some stuff during the holiday seasons. There should be something in the system that says, hey, this is the sentiment. This is a high price situation. You want us to work near the holidays, like Thanksgiving and shit, because you want to get something out. Well, it's going to be a premium. Surge pricing, which now they're doing in the supermarkets, right? I'm already writing this out in the system. 27th, again, for those that are new in the back, March 6, 2017 is when I'm working on this document. All right, and then sentiment rates, media, creative, development, marketing, metrics, sales, and scaling. How do we get our stuff out to multiple people, and how do we scale up taking on more clientele? How do you create a system that will eventually be 100% completely automated and transparent? Now I'm thinking blockchain. Again, this is 2017 as I'm beginning to get into the crypto cycle. My first crypto cycle. I had seen Bitcoin, I was understanding, but I was looking and saying, hey, this financial system's kind of grody and there's nothing else. There's no new. Like, we went through, hey, you got a web page. Okay. Hey, you get a MySpace page. Okay. Then we went through this. Now we're going through a fluctuation. Where we're going to be in the social media spectrum? Is it Instagram? Is it just Snapchat? Then it just became TikTok, which I didn't understand until late last year because I didn't want to spend time working on that. But now, as the automation of creating media is getting easier, and the release of media is getting easier, and the APIs to allow you to do more work is becoming more prevalent across multiple freaking channels now. So you just need one database location to be able to then cast a net across multiple social media platforms. And it goes back to the days when I was working with Jay-Z on the street team, but I wasn't working directly with him. I was working with Wayne. Okay, I've reloaded. Pain in the ass. Him. Wayne Pain, his studio name was Pain in the Ass. And Wayne used to have us do snipes and run snipes and put those snipes or the artwork on the construction sites. And that's how we were getting the buzz throughout Queens for Jay. And all I got out was some good weed. And potentially, maybe I'll be able to go into the office. But of course, if some of y'all know the story, he decided to do push-ups naked in front of the new Puerto Rican secretary and said, I'm getting strong for you, baby. And then he was let go because sexual harassment that visible, it wasn't going to be, that can't go. Lawsuits are bad. And that's Jay. So, So, how do we then... This is why I said transparent. How do you then put that system on an encrypted, distributed network? So again, I understand crypto enough. I'm not sitting there saying at the time, 2017, I'm not saying out of pocket. Yeah, definitely out of pocket. I'm not saying that I believe in Bitcoin. No, I just understand that waters move regardless of how you want to feel about it. I watch the water. When with my uncle, that experiment that I told y'all, I realized that the name of a piece of software generated a hashtag principle in my head. Software equals $signs. What's the biggest software on the planet being run on multiple machines, pieces of hardware that you have to buy every fucking cycle? Y'all are missing the point. Like the internet. You missed the internet. What was I watching on the internet? How many new servers were launching? How many server companies were being created across the entire world? How many people were offering hosting? How many people had what was the number of domains that were being purchased? Those were the digits I was watching. Those digits were important to me because there has to be some type of math. The math needs to be mathing. Okay, how many Bitcoin server machines are being purchased every single month? Thousands, tens of thousands, especially right before a big cycle like that's about to happen now, which may be the last cycle. We don't know. This may be the last major cycle because the last thing that needs to be done is being created. Let's go through this and then we'll get into that. At the time, this was what I was thinking about, the initial system body. So I'm thinking of it as a being, a digital person. At the time, there was this program called Node-RED. You installed it. It was be able to build a visual app. It was interesting, but because it's very open source and the people are kind of hokey and hippie, I was like, this isn't going to have any major enterprise power behind it. It's going to be a bunch of tinkerers, hobbyists, the original hackers. It has that thought process, which is cool. It's just now I'm looking for something that's going to manage multiple people's businesses. Like if I create the template of this, just like WordPress created a template system, what if we could template businesses? Because businesses are processes, and now AI is handling processes. So we need to start thinking of our businesses not as physical constructs, but as processes that need completion, i.e. tasks, i.e. transactions. We are going into the Internet of Things. Things which have IP addresses, IP, intellectual property, or in this one, Internet Protocol, but no, IP. You're going to send intellectual property through this address. It's going to be music. It's going to be video. It's going to be digitized. We're going to have a digitized commerce system, which we already had. We're just getting it back. Because let's not forget, again, the Trail of Tears led from the East Coast to Tulsa, Oklahoma. But did anybody not see all the Morse code poles that ran electricity that went from sea to shining sea and are still there to this day? All the electric poles, the poles of they ran Morse code. No, they were running. We had electricity. We had all this shit. We were doing all of this. We had the internet, maybe something of this nature. Who knows? Maybe we're all just getting it back because languages got to get scrambled up type beats. So this was a visual programming language. So I'm gonna still be looking. At this time, still, I knew this was weak, but I'm still going to be looking for a visual place where I can be able to automate. Was interested in some programs. This was back in you see right here, March 2017. Tasker for Android automation, which is still a great program. API AI, which is going to be the voice-enabled chat system, but now that would be 11 Labs. AWS for the API gateway. Now I have something else for that, which was going to be Dynamo, Lambda, Lightsail. Now I'm using the same program what I found for here was the same program that now can do this as well. I was going to use a graph database, which I still think that there needs to be some type of graph database behind the scenes because AIs work better with graph databases. And I had already had it on my radar before that, just because I thought that graph databases were going to be the next database, because all the social networks have graph databases. So Facebook, Google, Twitter, Yelp, there's a graph database behind them. It's just the way it is. It's a node-based database. So why wouldn't that then work its way into consumer land? And it still hasn't, but it's beginning to. Like, you can still install Neo4j on your own computer. And now, if you're working with an AI on your system, you can actually begin controlling writing scripts that will be entered into Node.js to have it functionally interact with an AI. So you can do that. You can you can use it as an API for it, but that's going getting way ahead of itself right now. Then I was going to use MySQL because it was the only database I really knew. WordPress as a website and a dashboard because you couldn't really build an app. So this needed to connect through the APIs of WordPress to be the presentation layer, which completely gutted that idea. WordPress, especially now, is the worst place to be in thinking about an application. It's never scaled. It can't scale. It's too ad patched, and what it needs now is a huge gutting and a rethought process as to how things run today. But because of the landscape of WordPress now, where they and this other company, WordPress WP Engine and WordPress are having some issues, and now it's like War of the Roses, and they're pretty much stealing each other's intellectual properties, and it's gonna get ugly, and ain't nobody got time for that. Y'all are playing around as your world collapses for you. We have no time for that. And then the Facebook API, of course, because Facebook. I mean, Facebook. You know, there's Twitter. We can post to Twitter. Back then, the APIs were way too crazy to get into. Now anybody can sign up, and especially if you pay your whatever thing, I think there's an API thing you can do. So you can use X amount of API, I think like 5,000 a month API calls or some shit like that. So I mean, it's very functional for low scale rolling out, gathering data and using it. And then Beta 01, possible systems, Watson, blah blah blah. So why am I showing you all this is because if I go back into my Photoshop right here and then go to this slide. Okay, so here's what we're going to be dealing with for why I say this future we're looking at now. And let me drag this in real fast. And part of the, let me see, I'm going to use this because I use it for a client. When I said there would need to be a visual representation of programming, I have my visual representation for programming. Hold on. Let me drag it over here because you can't see that. Here we go. And let me zoom out a little bit. Hold up. Wait a minute. Really, yo? Like, you are really not going to let me be great today, as MG says. That's really weird that I cannot get this thing to just do the scaling it used to do. I have to figure out what the hell's wrong with my shortcuts. All right, so like here, this is N8N. I told y'all a couple times that I've been using this. The next phase is building the full automation systems. Like I've begun, let me see if I can find one that has some AI on it. Here we go. So this one I'm using Airtable. This was one of my test runs with being able to get content generated. So you can see it goes to Airtable, goes through and looks through some items. It's looking, it's going to store the record ID because we're going to need that later to update once we need to update it with the written stuff. And then here's the prompts that I put in. So these are the prompts that go in for this AI. So it's literally, here's the message prompt when creating a LinkedIn post. So it's for LinkedIn. So it's for being able to write updates to LinkedIn, and it needs to have a business sound to it. And which one is this? And this is our Twitter one. So what this does is it goes through, it looks for a new product or a new product we need to market. It writes a LinkedIn post for it because we're marketing it to businesses, and LinkedIn is good for that. And then we're marketing it to, we need to have a Twitter post for it. And then it needs to get stored into the database once it's complete. right? So what I showed you is, what if I had an AI as a module that was controlling this module? It sent the work in. So rather than me manually doing this, it's just sitting here waiting for work to get done. I believe this piece of software right here, N8N, this one here, is the WordPress of automation. I have spent months looking all over the, no, not months, excuse me, years. Now you've seen me. You've seen right here. Like when I tell you I've been looking for something for years, here's the date. Here's what I've been looking for. Here's what I thought I was going to be using. This is what I'm currently using. My own version of this. And we're seeing this with other companies. We're seeing this with Zapier. I was working for an internet influencer, a real estate internet influencer, and that person needed to be able to automate his portions of his business and portions of his courses and his classes. He was selling real estate courses and credit classes and all that shit. And then with that, he used Zapier, and he was spending thousands, like $5,000 a month, and he wasn't even using up all his transactions. You're spending $5,000 just to be able to send a bunch of meaningless transactions. This server, $30 a month. What if you're able to learn the software like this and be able to tell your client, hey, are you automating your business? Oh, you're already automating your business? Okay, what are you using? You using Make or you using Zapier? What's your costs per month for the ability to be able to do those, cloud transactions? And if they tell you anything more than $500 freaking dollars, you're in. If they tell you $1,000, you're doubly in. Because there's wiggle room for you to be able to get a client to be able to automate portions of his business he didn't want to do in the first place. So now you get a development charge to develop the system, as well as you get the service charge for doing the work. That's what I've been building. I'm building the system that you can then be able to be great on your own. Because this era and this age that is being created is just as big as when websites got on the internet, period. We did not know putting up a website, me and my homeboys, putting up a website to just put our music out on. Neighborhood niggas. Just, hey, we're our own label, nigga. Yeah. We got a website. We are .com, nigga. Yeah. No, now we did that. But what we didn't realize was, hey, that was an industry. How many companies became web development companies? How many transitioned into web deployment? How many transitioned into security? How many transitioned into data management and migration? It's where's the open door policy? Where is the cash flow and the flows of currency? Where is the current sea? It doesn't matter how we feel, water moves, liquidity moves, energy moves. It doesn't matter about the fiat. The exchange doesn't matter. Remember, we had Wampoon. Those shells on our neck was money. Of course, because we always wore our cash. Wampoon was money. Then we have dead big face people on it now. Yay. Now we won't have none of that. It'll be some 3-letter something or other for a bigger word. Basically the stock exchange digitally. Because energy isn't mining something out of the ground. Energy is how businesses move. What are the new databases? Right now, they're expensive. Bitcoin is expensive. You can't put no application on that ish. Really? That's why you need a layer 2 and layer blah, 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 blah. Same with Ethereum. Hey, we're going to do a layer this and a layer that. Cool. It's still expensive. 10 years later, still expensive. I can't do business transactions. I can go get a server for $5 from Amazon and put something on it and make some money on it. I can now hook it into an AI and have it be an interactive something for somebody. Whether it be just an FAQ person, whether it be a chat person, those things are cute and clamorous. The next things are going to be doing physical labor. Or doing digital labor. The first ones to go is white collar. And that's what they don't get. You're creating the software to destroy top level management. Wow, talk about crash and burn. That's where we're at right now. So, database, AI. So the problem with crypto, sorry y'all, damn it. The problem with crypto is cost for database. So this is real cute for being able to just have a system, have access to money. That's it. And then here, AI uses a database, can interact with databases, and is interactive. Now we're just looking for distribution. We're watching it be distributed. Now that's the open source AIs spreading everywhere. This is why I've already done a video. I'm making a free video that I am launching. It will be launched next week. I've been working on it. I have to just finish off the videos for it. It's an AI installation for Windows. You can, if you have a Mac that can do it. It's like I said, it's going to be free. The reason why this is definitely free is because not everybody's going to be able to install on their systems what we're rolling out. We'll be able to work on something in the future for cloud. So this way you would be able to follow through on doing it in the cloud. It probably costs a little bit more money because it is cloud, but at the same time, I'll find some hacks so that you can do some of this on your own. It may be like, hey, Grok is Flux. It's not as good as my localized version of Flux, but you could use Grok. If you pay for his check mark, you get Grok for free. And then you can use Grok to be able to follow up on some of the videos where we show you how to install a graphic engine on your machine that can generate your artwork for you, and then how you edit it. Because again, you're going to have to create something. Things have to be made. Designs will be done. And you're not probably going to be, if you want to pay, if you have the cash flow to do so, great. But just like how musicians and producers, like me as an MC, I couldn't pay at the time of the early 90s. The producers in Queens wanted $1,000 a beat. Even my homeboy was like, yo, I can do 500 for you. You know what I did? I went and got an MPC 2000 XL. I learned how to, since I now knew how to do computers, I installed my own SCSI inside. And then I hooked it up to a USB zip disk 250. Where I had 250 megabytes for each of those big ass plastic blue discs. And then I learned how to make my own damn beats. Going on the internet, looking through, at the time, I think it was Alta Vista search engine was the top search engine before Google came and destroyed everything. So databases, like Google, a database. Databases are just transitioning. What made MySpace? A database. It was a content engine. It was a content management system. It was the birth of another content management system. Just like how back in the day, if you look at Mi Gente or Black Planet, Those were like forums trying to be content management systems. But it wasn't until certain JavaScript, Ajax language, being able to get notified that somebody visited your page or visited your portion of the site, or somebody left you a message. The interaction changed. The next phase is about computers making their money. Doesn't matter how we feel about it. If you look at how everything is navigating, this is where we're heading. It doesn't matter how we feel. We're heading into a place where AI and crypto will merge, because they're already giving AIs a wallet, and they're already making business decisions, and they're already making meme coins, which is, again, dumb. But what happens when it's about transactions and work getting done? What happens when it's about generating a scene? What happens when it's about generating a model? What happens when it's about, and it's cheaper to do it there than it is to do it with NVIDIA or to do it with Google, a training model, right? Because they're jacking the prices up for you to train your business models in their Azure server or AWS server or Oracle or IBM or wherever. Everybody says you can train with your model with us, but we're going to charge you out the ass. Okay. I'll hand it to this decentralized network because it's cheaper. Because all these GPUs can now be used for something, just not trying to win the lotto on a math equation, which is why Ethereum moved to proof of stake. Because that was wasteful spending. But the problem is, now you have proof of stake to do what? What are you doing? Your database is still expensive. You can't write business class apps with a price that's fluctuating too much. No stability. What up, Current? Replay gang. So, I'm just about done. Let's get into crypto and the bots update. Let me drag it over here and double click here. So, let's start with our bots. And I will start with where we're at. I have not touched anything. Not a single thing. I'm not touching anything. Yes, the market go down. Yay. But we're in a bull cycle. If this was crypto winter, I would make adjustments. Now it's kind of like buy and hold. But the difference is when it moves back in pocket, the waters move back in play, it goes back to trading back and forth, pause. But I'm not going to chase it down only for it to spike back up and I have to sell and buy again. You're losing something in those transaction spends. And I try to only do it when we're in crypto winter, where I'm like, hey, first, let the tides, watch it drop. Like, so 2021, when I told y'all to get out of crypto like December, right? So back here, let me go so that for those of you that are new, no, I'm not talking out my butt. Where is it? Where are you? Here we go. Let's go back to YouTube. Let's go back here. Let's scroll down to the bottom. Right here. And then right here. So, right here, I streamed 7 years ago. I came back when I told you the China FUD was happening. Because here, 7 years ago, I talked about the China FUD. I already knew they'd be on that type of time. Hold on, my Windows closed out on me. There we go. Right? So when you're dealing with this crypto run and this, you see these dips, I'm thinking about it like this. So halving cycle, go down, let the bots play, wait for a drop. I might readjust my bots again, but then you have a further drop, right? So when you're coming off the backside of a halving cycle, so here's the halving cycle. Let's go back to, let's not use 2024. Let's actually go to the last one right here. This was the last halving cycle, right? So you have the halving that happened last, yep, this is 2020. Okay, so we had the halving in 2024, right? So that was last year. 2024 was the halving. This year is the run up. So here's the halving, 2020. Here's your halving cycle. Then we have to zoom in just because, you know, the run up was crazy. So here we are, June. So this is again 2019. Here's 2020. Here's your crash right around March, right? 2020. Then we have our run up 2020. So this is now, again, this is the dip. June, August, September, October, November. You're seeing the market skyrocket, but this is because we have so much liquidity. So take this with a grain of salt that this halving cycle will not probably do the same thing. There was a lot of liquidity because of those checks because of Rona. So this run up is unlike anything because everybody got cash in their hands. So the first thing that it went right to the quote unquote scarce slash limited scarcity item. There's only 21 million, blah, 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 the whole run. Then you see it just skyrocket. And then right around we had April. Here we go. We're jumping in. We're going August, September, October, November, December. This is the first week, December, the second week. Right around here, I told y'all to get out. I said, hey, this market is over. We're going into crypto winter. Let's verify if I did that. So we're going to go here. Let's scroll up. Let's go to, it might be a live or it might be a recording. Let's see which one it was. 5 years, scarcity, 3 years. Yeah, this is 3 years ago. Fiat, what's in your wallet, gaming, the business of automation, blockchain gaming, the great pivot, trouble. Where's crypto winter? Should be a crypto winter one. CP Lie. It's 2 years. Here we go. 3 years ago. Crypto winter. 2021 review. This is the end. This is when I told y'all to get out. Right here. So the same thing this year. Same. Come October, November, it'll be time to jettison up out of here. So you see that when I told y'all to get out of there was right around here. Second week, right around here. And then you had this huge fall off after that. That's what I mean when I say that the crypto winter, you just went through it. Now here we are. We've run all the way up. We've gotten all the way up to hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we're not even in the real portion of the bull run. Not at all. So right now with my bots, I am leaving them alone and letting them run. I'm not touching them, not moving them. I might add to my portfolio within the next couple of weeks, because I think we're going to be getting through this next. Right now, this is the deepest it is for crypto to dip. There's majority dips in the cycle has been the first week, and then there's of course the November dip here, which really wasn't as bad as it could have been. It was still bad. It did play out, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been, just because of all this run up. But we still have this dip here, which we're in the midst of right now. Is this January dip, and there's a secondary one here, and I believe there's one in March, February. We have one in February, but this is the most significant. These right here are the most significant time. That's why they're in red. And then from there on out, I'm buying. Like, I'll be buying. I'm concentrating on creating multiple streams of asset flow to be able to do this, and that will lead to being able to do more investments. So the goal is to be able to start raising the portfolio. I don't know why it does this. Is to raise the portfolio, to start buying right after, most likely last week of January. Somewhere within, like, between next week and the week after that, we're going to be beginning to allocate. And inside the labs.toxichustle.com, I'll have it in the link next week. We'll actually have a announcement of, there's going to be I'm building a bot that actually tracks this. So I'm in the process of getting the data points together so that there's crypto seasons of Bitcoin alerts to let you know next week, hey, there's potential within, hey, for the next 2 weeks, there might be a dip that's going to happen. So that's what we're going to, like, see how this dip didn't happen here. But I always say it's within 3. So 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3. So within 3 here or within 3 here. And the same goes here, within 3 here or within 3 here. So this way, because you don't know, years can shift, something can shift with an options being moved from 1 week to another week, and those option trades cause something to slip and the market drops. That's why I do this, the seasons of Bitcoin. And we've been counting the seasons of Bitcoin. We've been counting them since all the way back here. So go 7 years ago. Just like I can show you, like, hey, Gunbot and the Bears, when I was doing bots, I was trying to build them myself because I didn't understand how this one company was doing their trades. So I decided to build my own, like, to work with another bot. Then I started talking about dips, like December dips. See, 7 years ago, I was talking about December dips, and here it is. I can pull it up and show you, hey, yeah, we had a dip in December right here. It fell right there, not as bad. It came, like, this right here was the dip. It came in a week and change early. Well, 2 weeks early. But we did have it fall. Just like this dip happened here. This is the November dip. And this is usually the most significant, but not on the backside of the halving cycle. So the halving cycle was 2024. It's not going to go down as much just because it's the beginning of a bull run, especially with alt season hitting. So that's just been consistent, like December dips, January dip, March dip. See? So, and this was 6 years ago. I'm talking about a March dip. So I want the AI to be able to do that. So what are going to be some of the use cases that you can do with what we're going to be doing with courses? The courses that we're doing is going to be threefold for exit liquidity. Or enter liquidity. Like, so ports of entry, right? So here's your ports of entry. You can immediately go and you can immediately learn enough to be proficient enough, because you can't just jump and get clients. because you have to be able to sell what you can do, right? Which selling to client really is your third direction. Really? No. Hold on. No. Sorry. This is actually number 2. This is number 2. I made this number 1 for me. This was my number 1 for AI. Right? So for AI, I decided I was going to jump after clients. That's why Toxic Hustle looks the way it looks right now. It's because I jumped on that immediately. Being able to do automation, be able to do AI for clients. But what the first one you need to do is actually this one. This is the second thing I did. Last year, instead of me handling clientele work or trying to work clients all the time, like putting them first before I put my business, I minded my business first. So the first thing that you need to do is mind your business. Mind your damn business. What is it? Mind it. Put your mind on it. Especially for this year and next year. Liquidity will be running back into the cycle. It's the last surge they can do for their phony fiat before they migrate to XRP and all these other things, these new roads, these new digital Silk Roads they've created. Remember, the first Silk Road on that Bitcoin crashed, right? That Silk Road, that's where all the money is coming from. If y'all don't know, hold on. Let me show y'all. If y'all don't think that this is a true pirate bay, new. See, Silk Road. Sorry, the new keyboard got mechanical keys, so they're loud as a mug. Boom, here we go. Federal government. Fortune magazine, 5 hours ago. So when you're asking, why is crypto doing what it's doing? Is it because it's bigger? Because it's scam? No. The federal government just got the green light to sell 6.5 billion in Bitcoin seized from the Silk Road. What did MG talk about today? Wasn't he talking about the new Silk Roads? Old Silk Roads? And it's funny, he's not a crypto head. But here it is. Spirit moves. The money from the Silk Road that they seized, that was the first Bitcoin illicit exchange or forum or place marketplace where you could buy, chiba y'all, I'm a lever y'all, and get it delivered to you. But now think about that. Here's the crazy stuff. People believed, like, if you read the white paper, you realize it was transparent. So when I began reading the white paper, I was like, wait, people are using it to sell illicit stuff? Don't they realize that it's transparent? You do realize that, right? Like your wallet address, it could still be linked back to you, especially if you got to cash out. And then you can start linking those nodes, hence graph databases. They use the graph database to be able to figure out the whole thing with the Panama Papers. That's what they use graph database for. That was the shot across the bow, was we could now dig and find illicit data because we can use a graph to figure it out. But what if I hooked a graph with AI? Now everybody's business will get leaked. That's what's happening. You're watching reprobate in real time everything that's been done in the dark is brought to light. Period. We ain't got to do nothing. Even if you mute it, the curse is the same, right, MG? So this is the new Silk Road. That's why it's named Silk Road. That's why they made it a big thing. And that's why they're shaking people out. They know what's about to happen. Because they're going to make it happen. They've been controlled, like literally. This is the financial arm of the clandestine government. For all of it. Period. But the internet's that too, but I make money with it. If y'all are online, y'all making beats, y'all making music, you're making money with it. It's NSA. We've been using the tech. So get your money, little duffel bag boy. And then the third thing you're going to do or can do is 3 is teach. And that's where I'm at now. That's where I'm headed to this year. The courses will launch next week. And I'm going to show you a little sample of, this is Toxic Hustle Labs. We've rebranded as Toxic Labs for the course side of things. Links will be going out for all of the updated stuff. I've been working on the back end. Right now, this is one of the systems that I'm building. This is this is Thor's Toxic Labs. So the Toxic Hustle organizational runtimes version of basically we're building Thor. We're using a Coda database for now. You can use an Airtable. You could use whatever databases you want because, again, it's just a table. In the future, hold on. Where is it? It's not that. That's a new one I just did. The community system's not up yet, nor is the calendar. You can look at the course builder because I'm figuring it out. So how I'm building courses, I'm actually mapping it out, how I get notes for the stuff that I want to talk about and what I trim out. So the courses, a course builder, that's not coming out till fall because I need to prove that it can actually get things done and it keeps my voice. Right now, I need it to be able to, if I have an idea or really what I'm doing is hold on. Where is it? Let me reverse this. See this? I have transcript. What's going to end up happening is how I'm going to end up doing this is an audio can be entered in, and that audio, which is that underneath? The digital broadcast system has it. So the audio, like there'll be an audio file path so on my phone, I'll have access to like a Google Drive. Then I'll upload to a Google Drive, and then it will automatically transcript it. So I can be on the go creating content, get the transcript, and from there it can work backwards. Because I can either start with how I'm doing here, or start with a title and then shape the outline. Or I can work with a transcript and then from that transcript have the AI build the outline, get the subnotes, do the reverse. Get the subnotes since we already have a transcript. Get the outline from the subnotes, and then now I can have, and all of this can be used to be able to create social media, still in your tone and everything else. So this entire system that's getting built out is an entire media management system. And what this means is you'll be able to create a system that broadcasts what you need to broadcast out, or not even to broadcast. Like, this is not completely automated. This is going to have, that's why we're going to have a system calendar. Like, and that way there'll be things that schedule, and there's also going to need to be a project management system. So tasks, projects, that's going to have to be put in here. That's the next thing I'm going to be working on. So as you can see, the idea is you're building an entire organization digitally. And that's one of the things from the subscriptions that we're rolling out, why the labs, or how we're funding the lab, is what we've been told is our clients really want to kind of do the work themselves. But once they see that, here's something I learned from the crazy man Bill Gates from watching a movie called if you have anything, watch Pirates of Silicon Valley, because that movie alone will give you a true perspective of the pirate waters that is technology, especially when you're dealing with Steve Jobs and Bill Gates together, and how they interacted and stole from one another, and how they stole from Xerox and a few other people together, like crazy. The thing that I'm learning here is the first thing you need to do is manage self. Manage your self business. Mind your business. Manage your business. Figure out what you need to scale, or even what is your business. Like, why don't you have a product, a subscription, or a service in an era where no jobs are going to want you? Like, take it from somebody 50 years old, and now all of a sudden I'm qualified for shit. Like, that's a real thing. My resume, we would love to hire you, but you're overqualified. What is the salary? The salary is $60,000. Okay, I'll take the $60,000. Oh no, but you're overqualified. Bitch, come on. But that basically, there's a capstone on what you can do. Not here. Not what you do for yourself, not how you build your business out, not when you can see tides, not when you understand swag and trends. And in managing yourself, when I started building my own web pages, building my own portfolios, doing all the things that I did, then I could get clients because I became proficient at it. So building AI agents for yourself, knowing how to install AI on a computer. You can now install it for a corporate client. You can now set it up for them, especially if they have Windows, which most of them do. Hence why I use Windows. I'm like, corporations are going to go Windows. Yes, they have corporations that will do Mac, and that'll be some artsy, blah, 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 blah. But I'm going to tell you right now, if I walk into the government agency, most of them are going to be running Windows. If I walk into Canon, I know they were running Windows. When I worked at Citibank, I know they were running Windows. None of them were running Macs. The only people allowed to potentially run a Mac were people that were making, at the time of 2003, 2004, somewhere in the line of $250,000 a year, which would now be the equivalent of $250,000 to $300,000 a year. Those are the only people allowed to do that. Everybody else has to use a PC. So, understanding that most businesses are going to be PC focused, and you can install AI on a machine and have it run updated language models. I just did it. My PC right now, the one I just showed in the beginning of the video, the one I showed, if you go to Toxic Hustle YouTube video, the YouTube page, you'll see it right there. I already built a PC. I installed AI on it, and I'm going to show how you install it, and I'll show you what you can do, not just doing art, but how do you install a language model? Then how do you install a language model that can code? And then I'm going to show you what I did right here, how, where is it? I'm going to pull this into this, hold on. Because I'm showing you stuff that is still behind the scenes, but we tried, we can do this. So that way you can see where I'm coming from and why I say AI agents are here. This just happened this week. And then we'll wrap it up for the night. You see this? This is the software I'm using to run my courses. And when you click in the block, you can edit code. And if you look at this code, I did this with ChatGPT. That's where we're at, y'all. And then here, if I save it, so what does this code do so that you can see it? All right? Here's what this code does. I need to migrate some of the courses that I've made Did something get broken? Because this can't be the same code that I ran. Hold on, something's off. Did it not take? Oh, don't tell me I click save and I overwrote my code. Hold on. We're going to fix it right now because it doesn't matter what y'all do. I've got the original code. Give me 1 second. Let me get it. Where is my... No. That I'll save for another day. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to find my... Let me do this because it's hidden behind another folder. Really? Oh no. I guess I closed it. Okay. No problemo. No problemo, man. Let's go to... Let me make this bigger over here because I can't see that. Here we go. Got it. And this is the code right here. Let's go back in here. Let's go here. Let's do that. Let's click save. That's more like it, damn it. Playing with me. Now preview. Like, no, that is not the original code, bruh. There we are. That's the pretty thing. And then, let me take some code. So I want to show you what this thing ended up building me. So let's just say, and this is just for an example. This is not the use case for this, but this is just an example of it. So let's copy this and let's paste that here. And what you'll notice is I got my markdown right here. So I can literally type something. Let's say I bold that. And all this markdown is here. I can now copy this, paste it into the system to bring my courses that I was working on. I want to automatically have the AI build out my pages based off of this. So I wanted to be able to take HTML that I've already made and turn it into markdown language so it can go into the database like this rather than with a whole bunch of toggle. All this code. I didn't want all this code going in there. I wanted just this to be in there. But this whole thing I built to be able to do that task. This is what's happening and what's beginning to happen, at least in the circle of AI enthusiasts that I've been working with that are beginning to start working with clientele, is this is what they're doing for clients. This is why I say start with yourself. I just wanted this for myself. I wanted a generator because what was my problem that I was solving? If I go online and I look for a markdown to HTML generator, most likely it's going to have a bunch of ads on it. I didn't really want to deal with that. So I figured, hey, if I build one, I can put it into the back end of the courses that I'm working on and people can use it like a tool for free. You know, as long as they have access to the courses and they're using the stuff to be able to build their shit, they could use some of the tools on the back end that we're building out for ourselves. You'll get access to those. That's what this is about. It's, hey, not only am I going to show you how this code was built, you'll get access to the code. But that's what we're going to be building. We're going to be building modules to do things, to do work. And in that, then you begin to start figuring out how it can help you. Like, are you making music? Well, there's going to be lessons that we're going to be rolling out that are music focused because we make music. So there'll be distribution stuff. There'll be marketing stuff. There'll be ad creation stuff. There'll be automation stuff. There'll be social media stuff. So there's always things that you can make the process easy, or even onboarding fan base to your own email lists and managing those emails. Because again, it's like, yes, there's a negative connotation towards funnels, but that's been since the standard of time. If you knew that a person that was selling a certain type of good was coming into town, you would be at the port buying it immediately. How did he let you know? He sent the letters on a ship before he landed. Then the Postmaster General will post it in the tavern or the public square. Now we're going back to the same thing. How do you create your own trade routes? Because it's not just about what you can do in America for business. It's how you do business internationally. What does that look like in 2027, 29, 30, when you will own nothing and like it? Right, Schwab? And I'm not going to listen to anybody with the last name Schwab. It's like, out of here. You sound like a bird. So, labs.toxichustle.com. We're going to be rolling that out next week. I'm finishing it up this weekend. Courses, free courses are going to be launching. Email program to be able to find out when we're launching major packs for social media packs, some of our automation packs, again, to do work. So we are targeting people who are trying to promote their companies, trying to get their socials up. The same way that we're doing it for ourselves, we're building the tools for you to be able to micro manage your business without your business managing you. Right? So you can kind of look at your business and see, like what I would like to do, what my vision of what I'm building is, I'm able to get work done. I can see it on a calendar. I can see what I need to do. It's notifying me like what my free time is to be able to shoot these things so I can have better time management for my family. And I can have a better output to the things that I can deliver to my clients or to deliver to people that are supporting like the plans or the or any of the products that I launch, like my music or whatever. So again, I'm gonna have multiple tiers of things that I'm doing with this tool, but it can be just simple as you're a producer, you're releasing something, you have a game and you're releasing something, you have a system, a service that you're selling and you're using it to sell it, or you're taking on clienteles that are in multiple streams of different avenues and you have a system to manage them. Trash, why are you giving that away? Because what does it matter? Me showing you this isn't going to stop me from eating, and I'm building the tool. So it doesn't hurt me either way, because my clientele will still want me to do the work. Just like your clientele that you find is going to want you to do the work. And I'm not trying to eat off your plate, nor are you eating off mine. But the tool itself can help both of us get where we need to get to. So the labs are launching, new projects, new automation projects are launching. Some of the recipes that we're building for N8N to be able to scale out and do marketing on LinkedIn and Twitter and all these other places. Facebook's a little clunky right now just because it's Facebook. We'll be looking at Facebook and Instagram again on the possibility to automate those things and to promote on them. It's just there's a bunch of cookie problems that we have to do. Not really fun. As soon as I can map that out though, which I've done it manually, I just have to create a process that's automatic, that once you put in the problem is like a cookie session. So the cookie session needs to be created. Then you need to extend it. And it needs to run through 2 processes to get it extended. So then you now have a cookie that you can now use to post with. And that cookie doesn't get destroyed every 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 day, 1 week. Like I set it for like, I think a quarter, like 3 months to 6 months. So now that same cookie can be used until it doesn't work anymore. So we're working on how to fix that bug with them, where we can have this, we can create the cookie, use the cookie, and store it someplace safe so that the system has access to it and you're not copying and pasting it manually. That's currently what we have to do with Facebook. And to me, that's too clunky. I'm not doing it. So right now, the social media platforms we're focused on is Twitter, LinkedIn, and we're starting to work on trying to figure out TikTok on how to broadcast there. So once we get all that in place, the recipes will be in the labs, and I'll definitely be letting everybody know. I want to thank y'all for your patience and your time. I do respect your time. I will be back. Just got to grind out and finish all this stuff because it is a one-man show, and I need to just get this stuff locked in play so that I can get this to y'all, and all of us can be using these tools to begin pushing our businesses forward or our clients. With that, my brothers and sisters under the sun, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for spending time with me tonight, and I will holla at you in an earlier hour than as I've had to do tonight. Thank you for chilling with me this evening.